Welcome to another episode of the Prep Coach Podcast. We are back, and this is the final one with Scotty for a while because
we're going a little sabbatical.
You're heading off next week or straight after the show on the weekend, and you're heading off, making your way to the UK. Obviously, you've got a couple little stopovers on the way, but you won't be making your appearance on the potty during the month of June mostly.
Yep, you guys will have to hold down the fort. I'm sure you will do.
We'll try our best.
I'm sure you'll have it on lock.
We'll try our best.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be an increase.
The listens will go down with the IQ. It'll be a perfect linear.
I don't know about that.
I might send you some questions, and then you can give me the answer, and I can say, Scotty says the answer to this question.
Just claim them for yourself.
I'll just send you a voice note. You can just hold this.
Claim them for yourself.
Yeah, we'll do. B, do you want to talk a little bit about the fact that you're away next week onwards and what you're doing, where you're going, and what's happening?
Yeah, so I am heading. Obviously, we've got the Nationals this weekend. I'm flying back late Saturday night and then flying out to Singapore on the Sunday. So just as a bit of a stopover, because with the kids going direct to the UK is just a little bit tricky, and it's a long flight. It's nice to break it up. So we'll do a couple of days there, and then we're actually going to Greece for a week. I've never been, and believe it or not, I actually didn't get to have any downtime at all when I was in the UK for a year. So Jen and I just said, you know what, let's just go to Greece for a week. So we're going to go there, get some sun, relax. We'll do a week there, and then over to the UK. We've got a wedding over there, and then I've got some work stuff over there, and then just going to spend some time with Jen's family. And then I've actually got my graduation for my master's at the end of the June.
Awesome.
So got that.
Are you going to pop into the Saracens?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
awesome.
I'll be catching up with all those
awesome.
guys.
That'd be cool.
And then what else? And then we're actually gonna head back to Athens to just see some of that stuff, because we're only gonna spend like a night there just as part of a stopover to go to Mykonos, and then from there back to Singapore for a day or two, and then the kids and Jen fly home, and then I'm gonna meet you boys in Bali
For the retreat, yeah.
And then it's middle of July and it's game on again. So
one thing that I've picked up with Scotty is he's very good at learning words in other languages, and he picks them up real quick. So
You want him to give you some of his?
No, I know
Italian
you're maybe not Italian yet, but I know Greek words. Because you've thrown out a couple. It's like, I'm going to Greece, and you're saying some
walk
Greek
in
words.
and just say, hey, the gun is classy.
You should see some of his Italian words.
I've already worked out like how to say big and small, rice and grass.
Yeah, see, he knows.
Mikri and Magalo.
He's a smart man.
Do you know how to say gluten free? Have you worked that one out?
No, I haven't looked at that one.
Okay, you got to look.
I will.
Also, they will turn to you.
But I'm actually bringing my gluten-free wraps. Jen went and got a couple of packs of them, so that where we go, because a lot of it, I've asked a few of my clients and athletes that are Greek. They're just like, it's just meat, and they just use salt. They don't really cook with anything over there.
Else? Yeah.
But I will investigate what that word is. But I can get rice, I can get salad, I can get meat.
What else?
Laughing like
Everything's fresh right there on the water. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, so I'll put my Greek to practice. I'm gonna have to learn some Croatian.
And Italian.
I get to just blow kick his head in.
Could you imagine just Fox up does a bit of a speech in Croatian?
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time together, the three of us.
Yeah.
And we call him Scotty Morelli because
he
does come out with the odd Italian.
But every time we go away, I don't know if you know, I always just try and like pick up maybe 3 or 4 different new words that I won't. That I won't know.
He's really good at it.
Yeah, someone said, I can't remember which state we were in, but we were setting up for a show, and someone said, "You're Italian too, Scott, right?" Scott was like, "No." But like, he's even managed to have people think that he is from the homeland. So he's.
Do you know what's funny?
Bilingual, this guy.
My son Harvey's teacher was speaking to Jen the other day, and she goes, they're talking about, because they're learning Japanese. And then she's like, I was speaking really hard because obviously Scott speaks so many different languages. And she's like, what have you told the teacher? Like, you speak all these different languages. I'm like, I have not said anything that I speak all these different languages. But because Harvey listens to me whenever I'm just talking nonsense, as he says, and his favourite word at the moment is mudandi.
Which Italians would know what that word means.
Yeah, but even just things like he came home last night and he was counting in Japanese, and then I kept counting upwards from where he was. He was like, ich, ni, san, shi, and I was like, go, nana, roku, na, hachi.
See? He's awesome.
And so I'm telling him when he goes in, if you really want to like, fuck your teacher's head in when you go in tomorrow, just walk in there and speak some Japanese first. So He started doing that, and even they're learning about on a different tangent about neurons, talking about how
Oh no.
motor neurons going on. Like, you should walk in and say that you know all about alpha and gamma motor neurons in terms of how they work, and just see
Oh,
what
hang
our
on.
eyes are going to go to.
How old is he's in prep, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in prep.
And they're talking about
Well,
neurons.
they talk about like neurons. Yeah, so they're
Really?
learning all about that sort of stuff.
As
yeah.
long as he doesn't go in
not to like hardcore physiology,
Yeah.
but just basic like what are neurons, and he's talking about how when I think about doing something, the neuron fires away and it does this, and so I
Oh,
always
okay.
take with that
I get
and
it.
then run with it. But he's like a sponge, man. Even when he talks about food and they talk about not eating too fast, he knows it goes into the stomach and then it goes in through the esophagus into the stomach, and then learning like the transit time from different parts of the
He listens
intestines.
to
And
him.
he loves it.
He's just on the other end of the door listening to Scotty's check-ins, just like
Yeah.
what he says to clients, you know?
He's going to pick it all up. As long as he doesn't walk into his Japanese teacher and ask him what colour her modundies are. That's the risk.
But it's so funny because when they were walking in the room the other morning, they asked the kids to sit down and they say good morning. And so and they have to put their hand up and say here. And so Harvey just randomly spits out ni hao like that. And she's like, what the heck? And he's like, oh, I just heard you say it once. And you thought it was hilarious. So it's so funny. It just goes to show, man, as they get older, you got to watch what you say because they hear every time.
They'll
Big
hear and
time,
understand
really.
everything. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, cool. So you're going to be away. You're going to be enjoying yourself,
Yeah.
time with family.
Yeah, a bit of time with family.
Switching off a bit.
Still, obviously, I'll be doing all my working with all my athletes and whatnot. But yeah, it'll be good, man. And I'm leaving the cold to go to the summer over there. It's really,
I know.
really warm. It was around about that time. It's crazy last year that I left to come back.
I know.
So it's crazy, and it's the weather over there is so different because it's light till like 9:30 at night. So yeah, it's gonna be good. And then obviously we're gonna be in Bali for the retreat.
That's right. And straight into the winter season.
Yeah,
Straight
and
when
then
we get
it's
back, yeah.
literally we're there for you're there for like 4 weeks after Bali, and then you go to Europe too, don't you?
Yep, go to Europe on the 8th of August. Come back on the 3rd or 4th of September.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys my flight lands on like a Thursday midnight.
Yeah.
And then my next flight to start the comp season is Friday afternoon. To go to, I think we're going to Tassie as the first show, whatever that may be. So it's going to be hard. But it's all right. It'll be fun.
That'll be
Looking
good.
forward to it.
When do you go to Europe?
Like the week of his wedding on the Tuesday or the Monday.
So it's like
16th?
16th or something like that. Yeah.
Isn't the wedding's on the 21st, isn't it?
Yeah.
21st.
It's on a Thursday.
I think Tuesday to Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Talking about Tassie, we were in Tassie last weekend, which seems like a long time ago, but we're just there. It was awesome. I know we had DJ Normie on the decks, which is
Awesome. Loved it.
That was good fun. Like that venue there, as we keep saying, is like turnkey, where we just go in, we know exactly what we need to do. The staff there is amazing. We get access to it the day before, and the weather there is cold, but it's so fresh. Like when you come off the plane, you breathe in the fresh air. It's amazing there in Tassie, and everyone's really chilled, laid back, really nice. Like we are on the door most of the day, and everyone's like super happy to be there. They're super excited, and the crowd is massive for the amount of athletes. When you go like percentage wise, athletes to spectators, it's always pretty big in Tassie, which is really, really cool. So,
and the venue's awesome.
Venue is absolutely amazing. So we had Tassie, and then this weekend we've got Nationals, the finale, the season finale.
It's going to be a big one.
I know we just had our meeting. We had a look at the running order, and there's a lot of big lineups split into multiple classes. And obviously we've seen all the people from every single state except for New South Wales people up until now. But from what we can see, it's going to be really competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, it's always interesting because we're at every show, obviously. But you see the overall winners and you can see the quality across the country, and it just goes right through. And then even at Tassie on the weekend, like some of the overall winners who I know are coming to nationals again.
Oh,
phenomenal
yeah,
quality.
amazing.
Like, it just continues to stay at that high level, which is great. Even in a state where the show is always a little bit smaller, the depth in the state is still
The quality is it's amazing in Tassie. Yeah.
So yeah, I had to run out the front multiple times, didn't I? I was like, I have to see what this lineup looks like facing them, because from the side of the stage they looked awesome.
Yep.
So I'd be running all the way. You guys would already be there, like sussing it out, pointing out who was impressive. But yes, Tassie did great. Some awesome winners. I think it was Yvette, the bikini overall. Yep. She was amazing, great physique. She'll be at nationals, which is great. But she was even kind enough to thank the podcast in the in her
In
speech.
her speech, yeah, that was really
Just
lovely.
saying that, we're in her ears. Poor Yvette having to listen to us for that many hours, during her cardio and things like that. So that was quite a nice moment as well, just to see how, the podcast is also giving people a way to help them get through some of the difficult parts of prep as well.
Lisa that won fitness, she was in over 40s,
My God.
but she's amazing. Like when we saw her, it's like, wow, we didn't realize.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah, she was incredible.
So I'm not sure exactly what Lisa's height is, but she's taller.
Yeah.
But my God, she fills that frame out with muscle.
Yeah.
Like,
She got the littlest waist ever, especially in that back shot. It just comes in.
She's really well balanced.
but
Yeah,
she
she's
was
balanced, yeah.
40 plus, and she was phenomenal, taller, and just so much tissue. She was one of the ones I ran around for.
Yeah, you
actually.
did.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've got to see what it looks like from a rear shot and a front shot rather than side stage. But she was amazing. But yeah, the quality was.
It was really good. I'm excited for nationals.
And we haven't seen New South Wales competitors yet.
Yeah, and there's a lot, obviously. Like we've seen the registrations, a lot of New South Wales competitors that we haven't seen yet. So exciting. Got some pros there as well. It's gonna be some battles there. Especially, I'm excited for classic physique.
Yeah.
We've got Graydon there.
Yeah.
But there's some really good competitors.
Well, you got Graydon, you got James, who won last year's Pro Show in season B last year.
James is registered, hasn't he?
Yeah, James registered. We've got Earl.
Earl's in it too.
Yeah.
And then
obviously the winners,
whoever takes the
overall,
which would be awesome.
There's a couple of good.
There's also
too.
There could be the chance that Earl's brother goes against Earl if he was able to. Like, that's a possibility too. But there's some cool battles that are going to be, even just from our point of view. In the amateurs, I think about bikini, swimsuit, sports 40 plus.
Sports 40 plus
has
massive.
Got like 11 or 12 40 plus competitors, massive. And we went through the names and we're like, oh my God, elite. Like, it's going to be an epic day of battles. There's going to be some very, very deserving and worthy winners.
Also, there's people that were early in the season, like Queensland and people from Melbourne, it's been 4 to 5 weeks or more. Yeah. Like, imagine how much they've progressed since then.
Yeah. I can think of some that I've seen online who are so much leaner than when they were in Melbourne that did well in Melbourne. And
yeah.
So it's going to be crazy. But we've got some stacked lineups. I feel like some of the best battles in the country are going to go down on Saturday.
100%.
For what we've seen in recent times, we've had some good seasons or some good years. The last 2 years have been great. This is going to stack up as one of the best battles for that pro card that we've seen in any recent times on any stage on any federation because of the names that are there. So,
and it is the biggest season at nationals we've run
by a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, so the numbers are massive.
By a long way, yeah.
When we looked at the numbers,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, even we went through the numbers today. We looked at how many walkouts there will be.
I heard the walkouts, but I haven't.
The actual registered numbers, yeah.
That walkout number was just the afternoon show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Yeah. So we're far exceeded season A last year. Yeah.
So, if you're not in New South Wales, grab that live stream. It's going to be absolutely worth watching. I'm going to even put on a new suit for everybody.
Oh, yeah?
And we might even try and get some footage of Scott's talk to me. We spoke about it in the last. I got a lot of messages about it this week. People are very eager to know what's going to come out of Scott's mouth and how he's going to get me pumped up.
You know what we should do?
I wonder if we
hold the mic under your chin so everyone can hear it in the audience.
No, there's got to be a little bit of like secretness about it, but
a little secret sauce.
But potentially we could film it and use it for something. But
yeah,
it's going to be an awesome weekend. There were a heap of shows just around the country across all federations, of course.
Well, yes, the most recent weekend, nearly ICN ran all their shows, and I know a lot of people listened to the podcast that did those shows in the weekend. So congratulations. We obviously had a look at. We follow a lot of people, and there was a lot of incredible athletes. So congratulations to everyone over the weekend.
Yeah.
I
nearly stepped on stage too. I was one day out. I just couldn't quite logistically get there, but we
couldn't get the flights.
We just couldn't get the flights to work. I was one day out. We were ready for it. We did our final check-ins and stuff, but I just wasn't able to stand up on that stage. So
yeah, but congratulations to everyone that competed over the weekend. And obviously we have our nationals and then ICN nationals the following weekend. I know a lot of people that listen to us and support us are doing those shows. So we wish you all the very, very best, and hopefully that your season finale is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into some questions. While we're talking about Tassie and NBA, there was a couple of judging questions, and I had to go clarify with Stewie because I didn't know the answer to them, but they were really, really good questions. And one of them actually came from Julian from Tassie. So here it is here. Let me have a look.
He dressed up as Boris on the weekend.
Yeah,
Do you know what?
He
I
tricked
thought,
me. He got me.
I'm like,
He got me.
it's different. I saw him earlier.
Boris looks bigger and more
what's-
muscular.
A little bit younger too, Boris.
Yeah.
we love Boris, but a little bit younger.
The prodigy, the young man. There you go.
So the question that he asked is, in Classic on the weekend, 2 competitors were brought out to do a pose criteria, like a judging round against each other, assuming they were first and second. But then when the actual placings were done, they were first and third. So wondering why. So I actually asked Stewie because I was unaware.
Yep.
So what actually happened was the person that came first, right? He was in the open lineup. The person that came second was in the open lineup, and the person that came third was also in the open lineup. But the person that they brought out in front, the 2 people, was the winner from open and the winner from another division to judge the overall again. So technically, they were trying to just reconfirm the overall and do it properly, because an overall should be the winners of each division. So they actually put those 2 people out front,
Yeah, makes
right,
sense.
to reconfirm the overall, even though in the opened, that was first and third. If that makes sense. So they're like, well, we placed first and third. We placed the open division and we judged it. So we pushed everyone back. And then we wanted to judge the overall again, because
They're the division winners.
that's the division winner.
Yeah,
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah, they follow protocol. That's good.
So they just followed
Makes sense.
protocol. That's
Makes
what he
sense.
said. So they could have not done that and said, well, he beat him in that one. So
Yeah, but they just gave him one more
but
chance.
they gave him one more chance.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because we did see that in Melbourne.
Yeah, we just
That it flipped.
we
But
did see
granted, that time span, it was not going to happen.
happen. Yeah, but that was the reason
Yeah,
why.
that makes
So
sense.
and I didn't know, so I had to ask Stu about that one.
That makes sense.
And then there was also another question. I'll have to find it over here. Last year at Nationals, how come there were 2 or 3 pro cards awarded for wellness? Was there a Masters and an overall? What happened there? So last year for Nationals, there wasn't any wellness pro lineup, because that was the first time we actually gave pro cards for wellness. So then what they did is they then treated the open class winners as if it was
a pro lineup.
a pro lineup,
Yep.
where top 3 can
Makes sense.
get pro cards if they think they're worthy to get
Yeah,
pro
so
cards.
the 3 open class winners
Went up against each other
and got pro.
pro
That makes
cards.
sense.
One was the overall winner, so they automatically. The other 2 were just granted their pro card based off unanimous judging decision that that's the way it should go.
That makes sense.
And that's also too is you can look at our pro card rules on our website, but if there's less than I believe it's less than 5 in a division for like an open, then it's not an automatic pro card for the overall winner. It's based on judges' discretion, because there has to be, obviously a big enough lineup. I think WNBF do something similar,
Yeah,
but I don't think I think it's an automatic yes or no. But yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
that is the reason why, and I just had to double check that with Stewie. While we're on this, someone also asked, what do you look for in an NBA pro aside from the physique? Do you look at them as a role model, a spokesperson for the federation or for the sport? Does that play a role in them getting a pro card? No. It's
They're asking, is it away from the stage, like the person's character, more or less?
yeah, like
Yeah.
when they're making a pro
Oh.
card decision,
The hell would they even know?
yeah, they wouldn't know.
Do you think a lot of that stems from what's happened recently in the IFBB, which, and now I'm not making a view on this either way, where there's been a bit of talk about, influencers getting pro cards, like let's say, Larry Wheels and Sam Schulich, who, by the way, both probably the best in the class and deserve it, but people are always going to talk. I wonder if it stems from that in any way.
I think it was, I don't want to say it's more prevalent, but I think it was more of a topic of conversation back then with FMG,
That's what I thought, yeah.
WBFF, when they were like looking at someone's marketability was a part of the criteria. And obviously, people that had a lot of followings, influence, that kind of thing, they were more likely to get better placing. But for NBA, not at all. Like, we're not looking at anything other than the physique that's
No,
on
I
stage.
mean, we've got pros that don't even have Instagram.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, we do. Let's just keep going on this topic. The NBA Winter Nationals, is it a pro qualifier? Yes, it is. Pro qualifier means, can you get your pro card? Yes. So you can get pro cards at the Nationals in the winter season, Melbourne, 3rd of August. It is.
Sunday, yeah.
yeah, and we did that because we want people to start taking that season seriously.
100%.
And if there's no top prize on the line, well, what's, for a lot of people, what's the point? So
Yep.
there needs to be.
We want to create history with that season. We want to create a start of a new era where
sure.
that is something that stays and is cemented within the bodybuilding industry for this time moving forward. So we want that season to
Like Natural Wellness Pro Cards.
like Natural Wellness Pro Cards. Talking about wellness, another question. Front pose for wellness. Is it facing front with the leg out to the side, like fitness, or is it more I for B style? So yes, it's like I for B style. It's the international wellness, which is, they call it an L pose, where front foot is facing forward, back foot is facing diagonal, side on. So it's an L pose. If you look down at your feet, it should be creating the letter L. Okay, I think we've got through the NBA stuff. If there's nothing else here, let's go on to some other exciting things. Oh, actually, there's one more. Sorry. Explain the judging points for NBA. The higher the number, the lower the placing. That's correct. So,
The scoring system.
Yeah, the scoring system. So, say you've got 5 judges, and they have someone first, then it's 5 points. First, all 5 judges. That's calculates to 5 points. So then if they're all seconds, 5 judges have someone all second, it's 10 points. So the higher the points, the lower your placing.
Yeah. Same as IFBB.
IFBB did something similar. Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on to another topic. We're going to be talking about ICN judging. Now, I've been a little bit too busy to go on socials, but from what I've seen, there's been a little bit of a backlash, a lot of conversations, a lot of stories, a lot of rants going on. I know you guys have seen a little bit more than maybe what I have seen, but also we've got a lot of questions too. So we didn't really have time to watch placing shows, lineups, seeing who beat who, that kind of stuff. But it's just, so we can't really give an opinion on that person should have won over that person because we didn't see it. It's more so people are telling us what they saw and giving us their opinion. And obviously we saw a lot of that.
Asking us questions.
And asking us questions about it. So I won't read this fully out, but it says, ICN judging on the weekend, ? I was in the crowd, and as a coach, I don't understand multiple decisions. The look that they chose in SA was different to WA. How are they supposed to pick a winner for nationals? I'll got another one. ICN has been preaching about consistency, but it seems like it's just gotten worse state by state. Thoughts? There's a couple of others, but I think we get the gist of what people are saying.
That was always going to be the conversation, wasn't it? Because it was how to address what do you look for in this state versus that state, and how do I peak my athletes for a national show?
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got one of my guys who's doing our national show. He said, "Oh, what do you think we should do the ICN nationals?" And I was like, "Well, if you want to do it, 100%, man. I think you should do well, but I don't have like amazing confidence if I'm being fully transparent, because I genuinely, especially with that division, and he's a fitness competitor.
Okay,
it's
that's been a hot topic, that one.
Well, it's just so murky at the moment. So I'm like, I don't want you, and he's from Melbourne, to go all the way over there, spend in essence well over $2,000. And in my opinion, he's one of I coach a lot of fitness pros, and I coach a lot of fitness up and coming athletes as well as physique athletes. And for me, he's in the top of the food chain. Like he's lethal. And so for me to still be like, I don't really know, I don't have that kind of confidence. I think if it was in Queensland, maybe, because I know they tend to look at a certain look, and I've been to those nationals and I know sort of what they will look for there. I'd have no idea about Adelaide, and I can't even tell because I'm pretty sure I'm blocked. So
I think half of us are blocked.
Yeah, so what they look for over in Adelaide, I couldn't tell you because I can't even. No. Can't. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the spotlight has been on them because they had their meeting at the end of the year and they came out with saying we're going to be consistent in everything that we do from now on, and we're going to level up to the bare minimum of making sure there's consistency across all the states. So the spotlight has been really on them. So I'm not surprised that people are calling them out and ranting because the spotlight's on them. If they didn't promise anything different, then no one would really say anything.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think the fact that they said we're going to be consistent nationwide, that's why these things are coming up. I know the example that you saw on a story was a wellness winner in a state was told something completely different. The criteria can be something completely different to the wellness winner who matched the wellness winner of another state who won.
For sure.
And we know first, I know that person who won is like
Yeah.
crazy physique, but also the conditioning between the two are
So you got
they're the same.
so you got two athletes that look very, very similar,
Similar.
right? Is losing in one state and winning in another state. And also too is everyone's gonna say, oh, but the lineup, but there was no one else in the lineup that matched her.
Yeah, like
And
just
therefore should have
from what
won.
I've seen, that particular wellness competitor hit the mark out of everyone that was in that lineup. Not discrediting anyone else, but I'm just basing it on criteria. And she very much matched the winner in a different state. Maybe the winner in that other state was even a little bit bigger, potentially, but definitely like from a conditioning perspective, they were on the same path.
Yeah.
And I think some of the feedback was too conditioned. And I think she got a quote of like, you need to be softer was what they were told. But
but she was softer than the winner in in the other state.
Yeah, and the winner in the other state was dynamite.
Else.
Yeah.
She was dynamite.
Yeah.
So
it's always going to be tricky because at the end of the day, we decide to compete in a sport that is extremely subjective, and having criteria and having judges. I mean, that's something that we really pride ourselves on at NBA, that we want to have a really clear, concise. Hello, my darling. You good?
come and join. Come and join.
What's wrong?
Mini Morelli.
Do you want me to come and help you?
Mini Morelli.
Give me 1 minute, okay? 1 minute. Thanks, mate. Is that, amongst all of that subjectivity, we try and provide a little bit more, I guess, clarity. And in essence, whoever the pro is within that division, so our remaining pro, it's like if that is what you're putting as the benchmark, then that's what you should be judging everyone. Like everyone else is being judged against he or she in essence. And so that's where it can be murky. And obviously different states, if you kind of look at them in other feds, there's almost like franchisees, if you will, but they should in theory have a similar model. But it's tricky. And that's why whenever you enter a contest prep, you should never place the success of your contest prep based on your placing. I know it sounds cliche, but it should always be you versus you, because you could be dynamite in one federation and do extremely well, and then you could be told that you're just not what they're looking for in another. And everyone has different, and that's why some people might say, well, maybe I'm better suited to doing this fed, and some people might say, well, I much prefer this fed because I know what I'm getting and I know the look and I know the conditioning, and perhaps I meet that better. So
or if you don't want to pick a fed and you want to stay with that fed, then pick the state that you're competing with in that fed.
Yeah. So
matches you.
Like, for example, if we send athletes, if I send them, I don't ever have any stress going to do Tony Lanciano's Vic Show, because I know
exactly
I know exactly. It's always consistent. Don't ever have any stress there. But then we know that it's our home state, so we know well. So maybe, I don't know, if we were to reside in SA or some of those other states, maybe we would have a better idea of how and what they look for.
Yep. Any other examples that were brought up to you?
No, I mean,
I know there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages this week, which I was kind of expecting to, and it's a tough position sometimes, because you want to respect all the competitors. You also, as a coach, want to protect your own competitors, which is something that I kind of pride myself on as one of my biggest roles as a coach, is to protect my athletes. And you want to put them in the right situations, right, where they have the right opportunity to succeed. And you always hope and pray that there isn't any politics that go into it, and you hope that they're just given a fair go. And if that was ever not happening, and somebody chose to do that, then that person's a shame to the sport. And we hope that doesn't go on. But I think the thing that they really do need to sit down and have a look at is, all right, on the same day we're picking completely different winners' looks in different states, after we've spoken that we're going to make things a little bit more consistent and transparent. I really don't see a solution forward to rectify it, to give all the athletes and coaches peace of mind, other than having the same judges judge the show. I don't really see another way. I mean, you can teach, you can run workshops and seminars, you can do as much as you like, but people like what people like. And I think the only way to get that consistency is to have the same judges.
And it doesn't have to be inevitable, like the whole time. It can be just run it for a year, run it for 2 years, train all the judges in every state, have one person go around to train everyone and be happy, and then go back to your existing model.
For
But
sure.
maybe there needs to be someone that flies around for at least a year and just make sure they see every single state, every single show, and they have everyone, following the same criteria. And then after that, if you're happy, then don't go back to your old model where you have a different head judge in every single state, but you're confident that they all understand and they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us as well. Like, as I said, I got a lot of messages, but, having not been there myself, I'm basing everything on photos and stuff. And, it would be silly of me to say that I know the exact answer to everything when I wasn't there. So, we also are trying to be mindful of the fact that, we weren't in the crowd at all of these shows. And this is based on feedback to us. But, ultimately, if I've got a competitor that I think is being done wrong by, that's also something that,
100%.
weighs heavy on me and something that, I want to try and prevent from happening as well. But you hope that sort of stuff doesn't happen in the sports. Were there some questionable decisions that, people have reached out to me and passed on? Yes. Equally as a coach, I don't want to feed into it too much because I mentioned just a minute ago, I'm trying to protect my athlete. So continuing to feed my athlete with that negativity is not giving them anything positive.
No.
And if that athlete, has more work to do and there's more shows, we're better off focusing on that and not wasting any attention on that because we can't change that.
Yeah.
We can only control what's in front of us.
Yep.
And it's all about, really mindset management moving forward. So, yeah, it was nice, I suppose, for people to give some validation as to potentially, a decision that they thought might not have been right. But for us, it's just like, let's move on. Let's focus on what we can control. And
But if you are in this physique space for long enough, you will always, every single person at some stage within their physique competition career, there will be a show where you don't get the result that perhaps you should have. It happens to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like you talk to any of the top level people, all the top pros, it happens to all of us.
if it can happen to a Mads, it can happen to anyone. Like, that is a lights out physique in it. If it can happen to a Mads. So,
yeah.
That's
yeah. Last one was, should a previous judge who is now running the Federation's posing workshops disclose that they are competing in that show against the athletes that they are teaching?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm running. So if Donna's competing,
So Donna was a judge.
yeah.
Now she's running workshops,
and
but now she's going to go and compete
against me, who's doing the show, and she's been coaching me at the workshops.
And she used to be a judge, or
But
she is a judge,
but she didn't tell me.
She didn't tell you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm that athlete, and I find out a week out that now my teacher is doing the show against me, I think there'd be a level of insecurity and anxiety that would come with that.
Why not tell them?
Yeah, and also
That's the reason not to.
if I'm taking money from someone, or I think there should also be a duty of care to fully disclose your intention to then go up against that person.
Yeah.
That make sense?
100%. Yeah. If I was competing against my own athletes,
yeah, it's the same example.
If I was prepping, if I was going to do you're going to do a show, and then you
told Juki on Friday, hey man,
I'm up against you. Yeah, I'm competing against you. Imagine that. You can't do that.
He'd be like, "You're in trouble, bro. You're fat,
not. I've got you covered.
But yeah, that's a great example. Scotty's right. Like it's like your athlete. It's like
you can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Like, why not tell them? I don't understand why you wouldn't.
That I'd like to know. Like, why not tell them?
Unless they thought it was going to be a good surprise, but it looks like the athletes didn't take it as a nice surprise.
I don't think it would be a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Like, you can understand if you've been prepping for something for years and now you've got to go against the person who was teaching you to try and win this thing.
Yeah.
You can see how that might feel not the best.
Do you think they'd be questioning, did they give me all the advice that they could have?
And even if that's not the case, it's human nature to think that stuff. And like...
Yeah. Or they used to be a judge, do they know the other judges? Is there something going on?
Or did they not give me the right feedback based on certain poses? And there's so many things that could come into play. That's why full transparency is always best.
Always better. Oh, yeah.
Because you just don't want to allow people to assume anything. We know that assuming makes an ass out of you and me. So don't allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Remove all of that. And that's what transparency does.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Yeah. What would you recommend for an improvement season with regards to nutrition and training when working with a coach? Do you prescribed training program and macros, or just training and let the athlete manage their macros but give them a calorie target? How strict are you on nutrition during the improvement season with your athletes?
We want everything.
Yeah.
We want full control.
But you also give them everything too. You don't say,
For sure.
oh, well, I'll give you a training program, but just, I don't know, be about 2,000 calories.
No, everything's exactly the same as it is in prep. There's really no difference. The only difference might be is like, we tend to opt for meal plans in prep, and maybe we might allow somebody to flexibly track during off season to give them a bit more variety and choice in what they do. I've still got athletes on meal plans in off season too, but there'd be no like approximated amounts. Everything is still controlled and measured. It's just sometimes there might be the ability to throw one off plan meal or 2 off plan meals per week. There's always guidelines for that, but the training, the nutrition, the level of check-in, everything's the same.
Yeah. Good. As an online coach, I feel I can't get away from my phone and find balance. What do I do? Try running a federation too. Jesus.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah. You know what? One of the toughest things, and last weekend was a really good example for me, is we had Tassie, so we flew out Friday. Saturday we had the show all day, flew back Saturday night, woke up Sunday at home, and had competitors competing in 2 different states on Sunday.
Yeah, that's hard.
And it was trying to find the balance of like being present with my family, but making sure that my athletes still got the answers that they needed. It was a really, 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 really tough balance. I think in the online space, coaching competitors during show season, there's an element of
no off days.
There's an element of just there is no time. You are checking your phone all the time, and I think if you have a partner or there's somebody that you're also trying to accommodate, just having as much open dialogue as you can with them about what the expectation is going to be, because there are times when you just feel like you are glued to that phone, and as much as you try and put it down, you're always on it, especially if there's shows on. But I think the time that you don't have somebody competing or there's not something pressing, just put it away. Like remember I told you guys about the phone jail?
The phone jail,
You walk in the house on a weeknight, it goes in the jail. You're not allowed to get it till bedtime.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's just to force and break the habit.
Yeah.
Just break the habit. Because even we're sitting on the couch together, the second the conversation stops, you grab it.
Yeah.
Just grab it to check. So little things like just getting rid of it. I know you're really good at putting it upstairs on charge. So it's like a level away from you to force you, and do not disturb, and utilizing these things. But even periods of your day that you can schedule in where it's like, this is my work block, this is my family block, this is my gym block, this is my meal prep block, this is my phone block.
Yeah.
But even on that, so if I'm being fully transparent, this week that has not been the case for me.
It's not been possible.
And
to
the point where even I was like, I feel like I'm not really being fair here, because I'm sat on the couch last night with Jen. Yeah, we're watching Formula One, but at the same time, I'm also going through my WhatsApp and I'm giving feedback, and it's the nature of the beast. She's awesome and she understands, but it's more, I'm like, that's not what I always want to be doing. But I also understand that peak weeks, and especially for national shows, you've got people that have worked, for a long, long time for this moment. And when you've got someone that's like inside out condition, the intervention that you employ, like the elements of minutia, they matter. So I think that's also the difference between, being invested in living with them through that moment and them knowing that it doesn't matter. And then there's also some give and take as well. I think as an athlete, if there's people that are expecting you to, and they'll always be like, just answer me in the morning, whatever. But if it's urgent, you tend to it. If it's not, then obviously it can wait. But everyone thinks online coaching is just, here's your macros, here's your plan. I've got my villa in Bali. I do my 10 check-ins. I work for about 4 or 5 hours, and then I just catch rays. But if you're going to be in it long term and you're going to be good at what you do, like anything, it just doesn't exist like that.
Everyone wants to be an online coach until the reality of being an online coach.
What actually it entails. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm dying to know if you ever found out about the poop tarping in-flight story in the procedure. Did you ever find out?
Yeah, I got heaps of messages.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There is actually a
procedure.
Yeah, there is a tarp type thing that they have on board that they do put over people for
soiling themselves.
Things like that. Like, yeah. There is actually
there is actually a tarp for it.
So the reason why they moved her
tell me,
is not because of the poo.
Yeah, okay.
They're shitting themselves. The reason they moved her is because she was so drunk. She kept falling into the aisle.
Oh, okay.
They moved her from that seat because she kept passing out into the aisle, and people were trying to move through, and they're trying to push a car. So that was why they moved her, not just because she shut herself.
Okay.
It was just my. So no, it's funny. If it ever happens to you and the person that does it into the aisle, just keep nudging them into the aisle so they keep falling into. They'll have to eventually move. They'll have to eventually move.
So hang on. If she sat in the window,
yeah, they would have left her.
They would have left her, and
For
you had
sure.
to sit next to her.
For sure.
Would they still have tapped her?
They would have tapped her.
They still would have tapped it. They still would have tapped it. Yeah, they definitely would have tapped it.
I would have tucked the tap in, so it would not have.
Yeah, how fucked is that?
Yeah.
So thank God she was in the aisle because
Jesus.
that's why they moved her. They didn't move it. That's not the protocol. They moved her because she kept falling asleep and falling into the aisle.
How did they get her up front?
They got her husband, who was in not much better shape.
Was she kind of walking when they had they lifted her like all fours, like from behind?
Yeah, there was a male hostess who helped, a male host who helped, and the husband who helped. Two of them. So they basically had an armpit each, and of course and she was a big lady too, so it was a grind. But I mean, the second that they picked her up, I was like, oh, thank fuck for that.
They wouldn't need like a trolley or a skateboard and just roll her down the aisle.
I just wonder where they have this, because I know in the UK, when they have people that are like really, really overweight, and you might think this sounds silly, but they can't actually physically get them out of the house. They have this like it's like a lifeboat.
So my sister,
yes, it is.
I remember when I saw her,
it is.
my sister-in-law is a paramedic, and she's like, they're about to get out. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I just see this thing freaking inflate, and I'm like, well, they're going water rafting.
They crane it up. Or?
Yeah, no, they literally just like drag it out. Drag the
I've seen
the little boat out.
They get the plastic under them and roll in the plastic on the other side, and they just pump it up, and
it inflates, and they just pull
it's like a mattress.
It is. It's like the inflatable mattress. They just pull the mattress out.
Oh, it's fucking funny. Oh god.
Oh god.
Yeah, crazy.
Who do you think the best Australian coach for IFMA Bikini is, in your opinion? And also the best Australian NBA bikini coach in Australia?
That's too many good coaches.
There's a lot.
It's too many good coaches. Like state to state, you could pick out a handful of people that continually produce great results. And I think calling somebody the best is hard when you look at a season where one coach might have one or two competitors and one might have 10, and there's a lot of incredible coaches, and I don't think you could say that there's a best coach. Just look for the ones that continually produce the best outcomes, and not just the results in terms of placings and overalls, but also the way the prep was managed and the feedback that the athletes actually give about how that coach managed them. That's probably the best coaches.
Yeah, I think also too is seeing coaches that can build someone from the ground up, not just take an amazing athlete and just make them 1% better. It's someone that continuously can produce athletes that are, bottom level to making them top level, and doing that over and over and again with multiple athletes that are all different shapes and sizes as well. That's what I call a great coach.
Yeah, and like to say best, again, based on what about the coach that has athletes who maybe aren't winning all the shows, but their transformation is actually phenomenal. They're not getting a result, but they've lost 40 kilos, and they're actually the happiest they've ever been in their life. No one's going to be able to score that coach. Correct. And that might be one of the best coaches. So it's too hard to say.
Yeah. I guess people just see placings.
Yeah.
And there was another question about how to pick a prep coach, and also costing of a prep coach. That was one of the questions that were there. Picking a coach can be difficult if all you're looking at is just who's got all the winners, because that might not be the best coach.
For sure. It might not be the best coach for you. And again, if you're just looking at social media, a lot of people have that taken care of for them, or somebody who specializes in that doing it. I'd speak to current clients.
Yeah.
Get feedback from them probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Evie, you want to sign off the episode?
We're gonna wrap.
Come over here and spell.
We're finished now. Evie has been a little bit unwell.
She's with us. I learned something from Matilda.
What did you learn?
About motor neurons.
Mrs. I.
Do you want to come sit here and we're going to clap?
You want to come and do the clap?
Yeah, come out. Come and do the clap. Let's see if we can get it right.
Just watch the drink there.
Ready? We're going to clap at the same time.
Ready?
Ready?
Say, hang on. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next episode.
Okay.
And then we're going to clap.
Hands out.
And 1, 2, 3.
Can you clap? Ready? You do one. A loud one. You can do a loud clap. You clap my hand. Ready?
3, 2,
1.